Provincial Week is a chance for members of this House to fulfill our mandate as elective representatives. It's a program that has run for many years now, and so the poor arrangements this time around were experienced with considerable disappointment. As a principle, respect for each of the three spheres of government underpins cooperative governance. But the last-minute arrangements for the Provincial Week meant that the premiers, MECs, mayors and councillors were already committed in many instances, and we found ourselves meeting with without the representatives from other spheres. Indignation was voiced in several provinces, yet what can we expect? Our lack of respect demonstrated in the last-minute arrangements got its deserved response. Noting the municipal finance cycle and the fact that Provincial Week was scheduled in the same week that municipal councils are required to meet to pass their annual budgets, it's no wonder that mayors and MMCs were not present to meet with us. Imagine a whole council of provinces with no understanding of the provinces of a sphere of government that we are tasked with enabling. But do not say that you were not warned. There was a lone voice in the WIPS meeting that drew attention to this ahead of time. But of course, that voice was ignored because it's a DA voice from the Western Cape. WOZA 2024. Let's look at some of the arrangements that we had. The Eastern Cape oversight was split into two groups. That's in spite of the fact that only 3 MPs participated, partly because Mr. Mkiva had much nicer functions to attend in Cape Town, where his royal-sized ego could be stroked. Rushing around and making it up as we went along was the description of the Eastern Cape Provincial Week. In the Northwest, a similar farce unfolded, also with only 3 of the 6 members in attendance, though here it seemed more like malicious intentions than just incompetence that derailed the oversight. The delegation was taken to Patrice Motsepe's farm to see a private renewable energy project, far from where the focus should be in this dysfunctional province. Interactions with the provincial officials, when they did happen, showed a lack of certainty as to whether the province was still under Section 100 administration or not. Wow. Promises of imminent project launches ring hollow as nothing has happened 3 months later. But let me focus on what we saw in the Gauteng province. An extra day was added at the start of the program to focus on the disastrous state of hospitals in Gauteng. Not because it fitted with the theme, but because of absolute necessity. What was witnessed there was low staff morale, staff and equipment shortages, failed projects with no clear recovery plans, and buildings that have been allowed to decay to a point where they are a safety hazard. The lack of management is just proof that the NHI is doomed to failure under this administration due to poor management at implementation level. Then we turn to the land invasions and the informal settlements in the south of Gauteng, which started as an ANC project to secure electoral wins. It obviously found fertile ground driven by the population growth in an area established in the forced removals of the 60s and 70s, which this government has failed to fairly address with their housing programs. The need has been exacerbated by the in-migration from neighboring countries and also from desperate people fleeing the hopelessness of other provinces. But the EFF then hijacked the land invasion project, ably assisted by Herman Mashaba. Yes, that's one of the reasons he lost the support of his caucus. But control has now been totally lost, and now the land invasion project is run by gangs of criminals. The land grabs are well coordinated and well supported. Gangsters used to sell the stands, which don't belong to them, for 3,500 Rand each. Now the price is up to 3,800, with the extra 300 Rand going to legal fees. Why do you think that is? It's because the PI Act, the Prevention of Illegal Evictions, a well-intentioned act, has become the most abused piece of legislation on the statute books. Add to that the unwarranted protection that the disastrous lockdown regulations gave the land grabbers, and you have a problem of a magnitude that is simply staggering. An unfunded mandate pushed down on provinces and municipalities to follow court processes, evict and remove land grabbers, and then provide them with alternative accommodation regardless of the circumstances. The DA will be tabling a private member's bill to amend the PI Act to ensure that it protects all in South Africa, be they tenants or landowners, and ensure that the spirit of the law is upheld and justice is the end result. One of the primary issues with land grabs is the detrimental effect on social cohesion. As grabbers move into areas affecting property values and sales due to perceptions of higher crime and safety concerns, the formerly settled community is heavily impacted. The infrastructural capacity designed for planned loads is then placed under tremendous strain as unplanned loading of 2 or 3 times the design capacity causes infrastructural breakdown, causing electricity outages, water supply problems, traffic congestion and safety concern. Not to mention the demands on local government services such as and other services such as clinics, police stations and schools. The result is conflict and resentment. A site visit to the Sebokeng wastewater treatment works, the culprit for the Vaal River pollution, was an eye-opener. Confusion between the operators and the user cities as to the capacity of their plant has delayed housing projects, but there's no plan to build more works, no new thinking, and the works managers too scared to go to site after dark. Which brings me to this report, which has been pushed through various provinces without following due process. While some provinces have indeed adopted the report, in Gauteng, a meeting was held to discuss a draft report, but the final report, comprising 7,800 words, contains 500 words that were not included in the document presented to us at that particular meeting. The North West's report, the Free State's report, and the Eastern Cape's report were never considered, and yet the consolidated report was pushed through the ATC and lies before us today. Delegation meetings are not happening as they should due to the arrogance of the ANC. Woza 2024. In closing, Chair, this report is something of a whitewash, with many of the correct observations noted, but with a sanitized version of the truth. The people on the ground know the truth, honourable members. We know the truth. Your sanitized reality may suit your political narrative as the ANC, but by producing a document such as this, you show the people of South Africa that their struggles are not acknowledged by you. The Democratic Alliance rejects this report. Woza 2024. Thank you.